Hello and a very warm welcome. Driver ratings for the Mexican Grand Prix. All 20 drivers covered. Lewis Hamilton wins a strategic battle and the one stop pays off. Let's jump straight into it. We're going to do the Haas together. Romain Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, 0. Haas are absolutely horseshit. I mean, Grosjean to be beaten by a Williams just shows the lack of... They just want this season over. They want to go on to next year. They are so inconsistent. 1 week they're good, next week they're shit. It's so poor. How do you get beat by a Williams? Sergio Perez, 10 out of 10. Delights his home crowd, best of the rest, held off Ricciardo. Ricciardo was all over him. He kept his composure. He really is an underrated driver, is the Mexican. He qualified 11th, he finishes 7th. It's absolutely superb by Checo Perez. Lance Stroll, standard 5. Hit the wall in practice 1. Hit the wall in practice 1. Like, oh yeah, last corner, wasn't it? Some of these stuff, I write them down and I can't remember. But yeah, he did. Last corner, pretty much what Bottas did. Out in Q1. A decent weekend for Lance Stroll, nothing special, just missed out on the points. He finished P12. Valtteri Bottas, 7. Big crash in qualifying. He was winded, he was breathing heavy on the radio. And yeah, ended up qualifying 6, which was a bit of a disaster. But his one stop in the race paid off. He stayed out, him and Vettel stayed out, and it paid off. Came out in 3rd, stayed in 3rd. I thought they would get past Hamilton, he didn't. Podium, a good fight back, but the title is over for Valtteri Bottas. Not officially, but it might as well be. Lewis Hamilton, 9. Race winner, good stint on the hard tyres. How far did he take them tyres? Unbelievable to take them that long. I thought he was going to get past, he didn't get past. He won the race. Beautiful stint on the hards, drove superbly, no mistakes. Title number 6 is in the bag and he will be champion at Austin. So you haters that hate Lewis Hamilton, he will be champion. Charles Leclerc, all the top guys I really give 9 to, but not Bottas because of his big crash. Charles Leclerc, 9. Inherited pole after Max's penalty. Max speeding under yellows in the last sector. Charles Leclerc on pole. 2-stop strategy, it didn't work. He had a slow pit stop, but the only positive is he got the fastest lap. Sebastian Vettel, 9. Very solid performance. Podium, could have easily won the race. His first stint was incredible. He took them tyres 34 laps. But I thought when he came out behind Hamilton, he was going to just fly past Hamilton. It never really capitalised on it. Now, Alfa Romeos, 2 out of 10. Kimi Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, 2. Very quiet weekend for Alfa. Giovinazzi had a slow stop. Kimi retired. Yeah, very uneventful weekend for Alfa. Gasly, 8. He's been ill most of the weekend, so his performance, I give an 8. Because he's been feeling under the weather. He gets points. Finished 9th, because Kvyat hit Hulkenberg. He qualified 10th, finished 9th, so a good weekend for Gasly. I give him 8, because feeling ill under the altitude, it's a great performance. Kvyat, 7. Toro Rosso looking very strong this weekend. Trying to go for the points. He hit Hulkenberg, turned Hulkenberg round. Hulkenberg hit the wall. Kvyat received a penalty and ends up out the points. Albon, 9. Hit the wall in practice too, but his best weekend in a Red Bull. P5 in qualifying, P5 in the race. He was 3rd at stages in the race. Hamilton and Max went off on the grass. Albon up to 3rd. Very confidence boost for him. Max, now this one is tough. Max should have won the race. He should have been on pole. Well, he was on pole, but obviously with the penalty. This one's tough. Max, he's been superb, but this rating should have been 10. But I have to be honest, no favouritism towards the Dutchman. 6. Pole position, gets a penalty for not lifting, which is a slam dunk penalty. You have to lift. He improved. Although he already had pole on his first run, you can't go faster in a sector when there's a yellow flag. So it was a slam dunk penalty. Then Hamilton gets a tank slapper. Max goes across the grass. Racing incident. Then he went down the inside of Bottas. Bottas clipped his rear wheel. Had to come in the pits because he had a puncture. And then he went from 20th to 6th, which was phenomenal. Great fight back. Gave us great entertainment. But it was like 0 to 0. It should have been a win. And yet he's only finished 6th. George Russell, Robert Kubica, 5 out of 10. No mistakes. Reliable. Kubica was ahead of Russell. Came in very late. Very hard to mark the Williams as usual. We'll give him a standard 5. Nico Hülkenberg, 7. Horror qualifying session for Renault, but they gained points on Renault. What am I on about? Horror qualifying, they gained points on McLaren. McLaren have an awful weekend, and Renault gained a couple of points on them. He gets points in the race. He got hit by Kvyat late on. Kvyat hit him. Hülkenberg went into the barrier, like rearwards. Had to pull off with a broken front wing on the pit straight. So yeah, Hülkenberg finishes 10th, but he was 9th, gets punted out. Gasly ends up 9th, so he gets punted out and loses like a point, which could be critical come end of the season. Ricciardo, 7, exactly like his teammate. Horror qualifying. He was on pole in 2018. He qualifies 13th. A great fight back in the race. All over Sergio Perez. We know he's good on the brakes, is Daniel Ricciardo. He's all over him. He's in the DRS. He's got the slipstream. Daniel Ricciardo licks it and sends it. He locks up. He goes across the grass. Then he comes back on, gets that massive chalk of oversteer. When he came back on the track, that was really exciting to watch. Literally sideways. Had to give the place back to Perez. Ricciardo finishes 8th. But good, very good points, because McLaren didn't score, Renault did score. And then McLaren to end. Lando Norris, 6. Qualified P8, in the points in the race. Then he comes in for his pit stop, and a loose wheel. He comes trudging down the pits, has to stop. Then they literally push him all the way back, fit his tyres, send him back out. He's a lap down. He's running round as if it's a test session. He needed a safety car, didn't get one. He retires. But I give him 6 because it wasn't his fault. I mean, he was in the points, he was doing his job. Carlos Sainz. I'll have to give Sainz a 6 as well. Because he's best of the rest in qualifying. Qualifies P7, which is a worldie. His driver of the season is Carlos Sainz, but he went on the hard tyre, and he just went backwards. It was awful, that hard tyre, and really disappointing for McLaren. They qualified 7th and 8th, yet they don't score one single point, so you got to say it's a disappointing weekend. Sergio Perez gets a 10. He's the only driver to get a 10. Yeah, I thought Perez was superb in the race. Under that pressure, every single Mexican willing you on, cheering you on, and he didn't buckle under the pressure of Ricciardo. Sensational by the Mexican. So there we have it. Qualifying reaction, race reaction, driver ratings done. We go on to Austin in a week's time, where we will be crowning Hamilton the world champion. And he's got a phenomenal record around that track, as it is. So there we have it. Comment down below. We'll always reply. And yeah, Mexico. What a great weekend. From entertainment, the build-up before the race, the after party, passionate fans, grandstand sold out. Just a very, very good event. A very good weekend for F1. And Mexico really know how to put on a show. Even on the podium when they lifted Hamilton up, like it stood on his car. I was very, very impressed with the Mexican Grand Prix. Very impressed. Like, this, I'm glad it's got a 3-year extension, Mexico. I like the first sector, I like the second sector. The third sector's awful. It's just basically there for spectators. But yeah, there we have it. Mexican Grand Prix weekend done. Join me in a week's time for Austin. Wow, this season's flying by. That is Mexico, race 18. Race 19 will be Austin, race 20 will be Sao Paulo, Brazil, and 21 and the final race will be Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina. So there we have it, driver ratings done for the Mexican Grand Prix. Comment down below, we'll always reply. Adios. Viva Mexico!